Welcome back to another Holistic Aqua Farm video. Today we taking a little twist on things. We're meeting up with Sean Austin from Sean's Rabbitry and Aquaponic Produce again. And today we're talking about how to turn this backyard rabbitry into a commercial setup. So how Anissa does do it into how Sean does do it. Welcome, Sean.
Hey Anissa, what's up?
Hi there, man.
Nice. Always a pleasure to work with you. You know, we always have some fun.
Indeed. The feeling is mutual, man.
Oh, so I heard you had a little idea, a creative idea for this video. So tell me exactly what we're discussing today.
Well, alright. So what we're doing today, it's a 2-part series. So you have to watch both parts to get the full story. Right? And we're sharing it amongst the 2 channels. So I'm going to be doing part 1, Sean. You're going to be taking over part 2. And basically what we'll be doing is we talking about each of our experience and giving people a little backstory to let them know, you know, if they want to work their way up into a commercial setting, how they go about doing that. And I know for a fact that a lot of people will look at you where you are now as a commercial breeder, and you know, they probably forget and probably not realize that you once started just like I did, with a few rabbits and a few cages. So, you know, it will help the story to help people gain a little confidence into doing this soon. So they will know that, you know, one day they could achieve what it is they set out to achieve.
Okay, great. Okay, so I know that, you know, that's actually a very good idea, because a lot of people who get into rabbit farming, who are currently into rabbit farming, they sometimes feel intimidated by the bigger farmers, or they question whether or not they will be able to get to our level or even bigger.
Yeah.
And to them I say, just stay the course. Okay? It's a lot easier to do now than when I started. When I started rearing rabbits, very few people in Trinidad and Tobago were actually eating rabbit meat. So it was something of a leap of faith that we took, getting into this on a big scale. Now, I know that you would have started small and you're gradually growing.
Yeah.
It was a bit different for me. At the time, I was still employed. Those of you who know, I was a member of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service 16 years. Right? I worked as a crime scene officer for 10 of those 16 years. But whilst there, I always felt that I never wanted to work for anyone. So I was always looking for other business ideas to free me from my job. And that was my inspiration really for going into rabbit farming. Now, so I started rearing rabbits whilst I was working. And when I decided that I really had enough with the job, I wanted to do this full time, I took that leap of faith. I went to the credit union, I took a loan, and I just bought a whole bundle of wire and tips and everything, and I just started building cages.
Hey, you just went on a spree.
Yeah. For about 2 weeks, late into the night, I was outside building cages. And mind you, I'm building cages on faith, because I didn't even have rabbits to put in those cages as yet.
So how many cages you went about building?
I went from now, let me give you some context, right? Before the merger, when I formed Sean's Rabbitry together with my business partner, Sean, this is when each of us were individually rearing rabbits on our own. Right? He was in Arima and I was in Wallafield here. All of my cages initially were built out of wood and the regular welded wire that you get in the hardware, that they use. Right? Because at the time, like I said, I started off small and I didn't really have any money. So I was just getting by. And like I said, nobody was eating rabbit, so I wasn't really making any money from rabbit farming at the time.
So you just jump head first into this thing when at that time people are eating rabbit, boy?
Yeah, my job was actually supplementing the rabbitry in a big way, especially in terms of buying feed and things like that. So, but we had decided that this was the way to go, and the only way to change that was really to start getting the information out there, start educating people about the benefits of eating rabbit meat and things like that. You know, as well as the entrepreneurial aspect of teaching the younger people, hey, it's not all about getting a job. You can be your own boss.
Yeah.
Anything you do as a business. So I was picking up second-hand lumber all over the country and wood by hand because I didn't even have electric so at the time. So
oh gosh, boy. Oh gosh. Hey, I balling just thinking about having to cut wood by hand.
Hours late into the night, you know, cutting lumber and nailing and hammering. My wife at the time
God, yes. Hammer, nails, boy, not even some screws and thing.
No, I didn't have any tools, I didn't have any electric drills, and I didn't have anything like that.
Oh gosh,
it was really to earth backyard style.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy.
Right? Hammers and nails. And I had built a relatively big structure around that mango tree. So the mango tree was actually the shade.
Okay.
You know, it was a small three-tier system, but I built it out of wood and galvanized and wire and things like that. But I had a serious problem with the neighborhood dogs because, you know, a wire can't really stand up to an attack. So I lost a lot of rabbits to dog attacks and things like that. You know, that is what really pushed me to start looking at investing in better quality wire. So I started doing research, I went online and I realized that in North America especially, they were using this 16 and 14 gauge welded wire and really good strong all wire cages, and I decided, well, that was the best way to go. But obviously at that time, no one in Trinidad was bringing in that wire into the country. So I had to look at importing it. So I contacted the company out there, I think it was Bass Equipment was the name, I think. Yeah, and I placed an order, they gave me a quotation. I went to the credit union, I took a loan, and I imported my full set of wire, clips, pliers, and things like that. And that's how I started. So it was another long haul of nights, cutting, clipping,
So I'm guessing that when your wife thought you was finished building cages, you went back at it all over again.
Yeah, all over again in a different format. You know? So, yeah, I remember a lot of nights she would come out and say, "You're not coming inside tonight." And like, yeah, I'm coming just now because you know you're excited, you know.
Yeah. Because that's when you have that zeal, that push, all the momentum still there that you're trying to work with.
And you see your cages coming together, and I told her so. I went all out and I built something like close to 60 compartments at a time when I probably had about 10 rabbits.
Wow.
And I just went wild. I took it on faith and I went that way with it. But gradually, you know, the market started to open up a bit more because I started taking meat to work. Right?
Okay.
So I took it for work, just tried things like that. I did a lot of giveaways. You know? I did small, little 1 pound packets and I just sent it to different members of my family free. You know? Just to get them to try the meat. And then, well, of course, eventually, people started to order and reorder. And well, the word spread from there, and of course, as the years roll on, social media came on really strong, so it was a lot easier to reach more people.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the thing too. You started when social media was not as big as it is now.
Yeah, there was no YouTube. YouTube in those days.
Right. So you see, folks, I think this is a serious lesson we could learn, because I mean, you took us seriously by you started at a time that people was not eating rabbit as much as they are now. And you just went out, you bought cages, and you didn't even have that many rabbits to fill the cages, but you grew into it as we people usually do when it comes to rabbit rearing. So you did kind of grow into it in a kind of way, because you had more cages than you had rabbits, right?
Definitely.
And with that kind of leap, you went out, you did it without social media, and so you found a creative way to market your product and get more people to eat more rabbits. And that's how you basically was able, and then you were still, you said a lot of the times you were still supplementing from your job, still had to supplement the rabbits.
Yeah, definitely. But I wasn't making any money.
Yeah, especially when you're giving away the meat too.
Yeah, I wasn't making $1 from rabbit rearing in those days. It was just a love, because I always had rabbits, even as a child growing up. We always kept rabbits home by my mom. So when I moved out on my own, obviously I'm going to keep rabbits. And then I moved into a farming area where I had the space to go as big as I wanted to.
Okay, right.
Yeah, so definitely I was going to go big. You know, I just, at the point in time, I didn't know how big, because, you know, like I said, the times were different, the market was different, the mindset of the people was different. So it wasn't an easy journey, but I enjoyed the journey, and I'm grateful today that I stuck it out, because I know a lot of people who started off around the same time as me, and they quit a long time ago. Some of them are now looking back into the market because they realize that things are picking up a bit now.
Right. All right, folks. So we're stopping it there for now. That is the end of part 1. This is a part 2 series. So you need to go over to Sean's channel now to continue to hear the rest of the story, where he is now, and how you can go about making that transition. So go over to Sean's channel. I'll be leaving their link in the cards and in the description for you to go over and watch part 2.